Another improvement under consideration is to shut down automatically a member port if we detect this behavior. And some of you request a lot of times when a flow statistic will be available again. Now they are available again. But on our side, we can enable a port, a 1 gig port, 10 gig port, or 100 gig port on the same business day. So my name is Simon MUYAL. I'm the CTO of France IX. In my team, perhaps you already know Arnaud and Alex on the network side, but also 2 people working on the hidden part, Pierre and Ignacio from DevOps and a developer, doing some interfaces, very useful, and I will present some results, the work done by all the team today. So the agenda, I will start doing an update of the backbone, the infrastructure. I will talk about the stability in the network we reach now, Paris and Marseille upgrades, and also 2 deployments we did last year, SLA probes and also flow statistics. And I will finish my presentation with some next steps for next year. Frank already talked a little about this for an upgrade on the optical side from the optical transport and also the IP network to have a high density on 100 gig interfaces and also give more visibility to our members. So let's start with the backbone infrastructure update, more stability. We reached last year 99.99% of availability in Paris and 100% in Marseille, no outage for Marseille. So this number is better than the number last year. So we didn't have any issues on the hardware from Rocket side and Juniper side, no hardware issues, so this is important. We have a reliable hardware. On the software side, we didn't have to upgrade our Brocade infrastructure. It's stable on the software side also. On the Juniper side, we have a minor issue on the lag configuration for 100 gig interfaces. This was solved quickly by Juniper, but we have a major issue, not on the forwarding plane, but on the IPFix. So you know that with IPFix we can have flow statistics. This is very important for us and for our members also. And we have a major issue. We spent some time convincing Juniper, that issue was not on our side, but on their side. And we spent almost 6 months to do that. And once we convinced them that we demonstrate that the issue was not on our side, we discussed with the right people and we progressed fast. But the beginning was a little bit complicated. Regarding the outage, we have less than 1 hour of outage on the last year. We have one outage. I will detail this. In December, we connect a new member and we run some tests as usual on the quarantine VLAN. But when we move this member to the right, to the production VLAN, we detect an issue. This member was replying to RP request, not addressed to this IPv4 address. So some traffic was attracted by this member, and some members were impacted during less than 1 hour, but we had an impact. What we did to improve this and to avoid that this issue occurs again, we run now additional tests on the quarantine VLAN. before moving a port into production, doing an RPing scan on the LAN using our prefix LAN, and we can check doing this that the member is only replying to the appropriate IP address. Another improvement under consideration is to shut down automatically a member port if we detect this behavior. But this is not easy to do. Why? Because this functionality is not embedded on our routers. So we have to script this, and all the RP requests are not. We cannot see all the RP requests on our equipment. So it's not easy to do that. And there is a risk, of course, if we shut down automatically a port. If we have a bug on the script, we can shut down the port. So this is we are working on that because we want to increase the reliability, and but it's under consideration. Probably next year we will be able to say that we can do something around here. Traffic growing. Frank said that we have, and Solin also, we have new members and some upgrades, around 50 upgrades and 50 new members, 44 exactly. And we can see this on the traffic. We have more than 50% of increase in the Paris LAN, so this is very good. And for Marseille, we doubled the traffic. We have 100% of increase on the traffic of Marseille. We want to show and to give more visibility to our members, and not only our members. Some information is public on France IX. So we are doing reports available every quarter, sent to Marseille and Paris member list. And this is technical information provided. Solin said that there is a new newsletter, so you can register, of course. But some members only want the technical information. So that's why we are providing every 3 months the current and new deployments planned, the new services available, the outage, a summary on the outage, and a summary on the new maintenance we will do. There is also additional information on Tools portal about flow statistics, again available. I said that we had an issue on the Juniper side regarding the IPFix export. So now it's solved, and some of you request a lot of times when flow statistics will be available again. Now they are available again. And we are also providing some information like the weather map, looking glass. This is not new, but we improved the web interface for that. Cleaning our POPs. We spend a lot of time with Arnaud and Alex cleaning the POPs because there was some POPs that you know that France IX grow very quickly. And sometimes we didn't do the things following best practices, and we decide this year to clean all the POPs. Why? Because it's beautiful to have a rack, a proper rack, but why we do that really? It's to avoid an accident. When we are doing some operations, if you don't have a rack that's clean, you can do some mistakes. Also, it's easy to ask for remote hands-on when you have a proper rack. We remove, so what we do exactly? We remove old copper cables. We're doing fiber cabling properly. Sometimes we perform some maintenance to do that. We pre-cable all the sites. So now we have 1 gig and 10 gig and 100 gig ports pre-connected. So we don't have to go on site for every customer connection. You see that we have 44 new connections and 44 upgrades. So if we have to spend 2 hours or 3 hours or 30 minutes every time we connect a member, we spend a lot of time. And we want to avoid that. To save time, save money, and also to speed up new connections. Today we are able to connect a member on the same business day. For sure, you need to have a cross-connect ready on the Meet Me room, but on our side we can enable a port, a 1 gig port, 10 gig port, or 100 gig port on the same business day. This is one picture of a brocade where the cable was done again. So it's almost clean. This also for Juniper boxes. We forget this. Oh, it's not good. Another improvement we did for Paris. Telehouse to POP is our main POP. Almost 50% of our members are connected to Telehouse. And we decide to put another chassis. Why? To have more redundancy, more capacity, to be able to propose 2 connections on different equipment if members would like to connect to 2 different chassis. So here it's possible. And we performed this during last summer. Another important upgrade we perform, it's Iliad DC2 and DC3 POPs, where we remove our Brocade MLX8 and we install 2 Juniper IX9200. We are able to propose 100 gig interfaces. It was a request for one important big customer we have in these POPs. And we did that. We upgrade also the capacity of on the network, for sure. We moved to 70 gigs to 200 gigs. And we did that in less than 2 months. So it's quite fast because it was a request for the customer to go fast. We install also some 1 gig and 10 gig line cards to address the new customer requests. And we also decide to purchase a new box, to put this box on the stock, to be able to address a new request or upgrade on a new POP. For example, if tomorrow we have a new request for a new member that would like to have a 100 gig interface in one POP that we are not supporting today 100 gig, we are able to do it in less than 2 weeks. That's why we decide to do it, because sometimes members would like to go fast. When they take a decision, they would like to do it very quickly, and we want to follow the same, we want to address this request very quickly. Regarding Marseille, in October last year, we say that we will deploy a new IX9200 also in interaction POP. We did it before the end of the year. So in Marseille, we are able to propose 100 gig ports in both of our 2 POPs, interaction and Jaguar network. We have today 40 gig of capacity between the 2 POPs, two times, because we have two circuits, of course, or 2 dark fibers between the POPs for the redundancy. And we can go up to 400 gig capacity with the current solution. Now I will talk about the deployments. So two main deployments we did this year. First one is SLA probes. I will remind the project. I already shown this slide last year, just because we finished the study last year and we did the deployment this year. So we decided to do a homemade solution instead of deploying a turnkey solution. Why? To have more flexibility on the SLAs. If tomorrow we decide to add a new measurement, we are able to do it because we have our own solution. Also for cost, it was cheaper to deploy our homemade solution and then choose a market solution available in the market. For sure, it takes more time. But we decided to do this. We decided to deploy in each pop a dedicated probe and to choose a 10 gig interfaces instead of 1 gig to be able to perform also sub stress tests. What are the main measurements we are doing today? The delay, the jitter, and the loss also. But we can imagine to do additional measurements if needed, and also to extract KPIs like reachability per pop, per customer, or global availability. So the physical deployment, we purchased Dell boxes with 2 10 gig interfaces, and we deployed these in Paris and Marseille. So 11 pops, 11 boxes. We connect the boxes with a 10 gig interface. So we have another 10 gig interface for future usage. And we connect this on the pairing LAN to have the same behavior than the customer. For example, if there is a broadcast storm, the SLA boxes will be also impacted, and we can check if there is an issue on the LAN. The operating system is a Linux with no virtualization to optimize the performances. We start doing some tests with KVM to have more flexibility in the deployment, but we saw that we had bad results when we tried to reach 10 gig bandwidth. For sure, you can optimize the KVM. I'm pretty sure that tuning the KVM, you can reach 10 gigs today, but we decide to avoid this kind of issues, and then there is no need to have a KVM. We use Ansible to deploy and maintain also SLA. So for example, we can shut down an SLA probe if we decide to do a maintenance to have a correct statistics. The measurements are done with the SCAPI library and Python scripts. There is a full mesh with a matrix available. So we are doing, as I said, jitter, delay, and loss tests. Regarding lag, as you know, we have multiple 10 gig DWDM interfaces for the backbone. And we to check that all the links are free of loss, for example, we are doing some tests with different source and destination ports, layer 4 ports, so we are sure that we are checking all the links. For the storage, we are using InfluxDB. So Influx is a time series database. And we are doing continuous queries for aggregate the data. For the visualization, today we are using this for internal use, and we are using Grafana for that. And we are working on the integration on the portal, on tools, and data will be available quite soon before the end of the year. So this is the schema summarizing what we are doing. So you can see here the Juniper boxes and Brocade boxes. 10 gig interfaces are used to connect the different probes directly connected to the equipment, And we are exporting data using our out-of-band LAN. And this is stored on the InfluxDB database, and we can display the information. We plan to do some analysis using triggers to detect an abnormal behavior and receive alerts if, for example, we are starting receiving losses on one link, or we detect that the delay increases significantly on a link. And the result is here. So today it's internal, but quite soon will be available for you. So there is a matrix where we can see the delay between the different pops. If it's green, it's normal, everything is okay, and if it's not green, something is wrong. And you can zoom, of course, to have, for example, the detail on, for example, here is the interaction par one pop, and I'm just showing the statistics, RTT statistics between par 2 and DC3, and if I click in another pop, I can show the statistics. Next steps for SLA probes. Now we have the statistics, and we can check that everything is okay. We can propose to integrate the SLAs on the contract, so we are working on that, and also on visualization available on the website, on the portal tool, on tools. The other project is the flow statistics. It's very important for our members. Why? Because some members don't have the equipment to export flows, or they don't have time, or they don't have the skills to do that, or they decide to don't dedicate money on that. So we are doing this for them. One of the main important information is the top talkers. Why? Because sometimes when you connect to an IX, you connect to the root servers, and you start doing some traffic with someone or with some people, and you see that 2 additional gigs of traffic are coming, and you say, who is doing this? I don't know. You click on the statistics and you can see that you are doing additional traffic with someone. So this is the main usage for you. But we are also using this to compare with SNMP statistics, and also to extract IPv6 statistics and other usage, of course. How we export, how we extract flow statistics today, it's different ways to do it depending on the equipment you have. 2 main technologies, S-Flow on Brocade side, and IPFix on Juniper X9200. As I said, we have some issues on the Juniper, that's why we weren't able to have statistics until this summer. The sampling rate is 1 per 4,000. It's enough to have an accurate information when you want to extract the MAC source and MAC destination accounting. And we are using PMI CCT for flow collection. It's a very popular tool used by some operators. It's an open source tool, and it's fantastic for us. And the developer, Paolo Lucenti, is very, very reactive. We worked with him when we had the issue on the Juniper side, and he was very reactive. And we were able to detect that the issue was not in the collector. For the storage, we choose the same tool that SLA probes to share the same tool, and we check that it's a scalable solution. So today we have 300 members. So 300 members is more or less 10,000 flows. If tomorrow we have 400 members, it's 16,000. 500 members, it's 25,000. So we need a scalable solution. We are using RabbitMQ for queuing between PMSCCT and InfluxDB. Sorry, so we can export flow data from PMACCT to RabbitMQ, and we can consume the queues using scripts, Python scripts. This is the global infrastructure. So we have a SFlow export, and we are using 2 instances of PMSCCT, one for SFlow collection and one for IPFix collection. RabbitMQ is receiving the information and queuing the information, and we run regularly the Python scripts to consume the queue. The advantage is that we can export in different formats. So we are using RD to have to easily graph the information, but also a MySQL to do some calculations to calculate the 95th percentile, for example. And also in FluxDB, the idea is to remove RD export quite soon and use only InfluxDB and MySQL. If you have a question about this project, it's Alexandre in the room that mainly did this project. So don't hesitate to contact him if you need some information. This is a visualization. We rewrite completely the portal, not only for the flow statistics, but also for the looking glass and the ports. To show your ports, your physical ports. And this is a zoom for flow statistics. So you can see that doing 2 clicks, you can obtain the top 5 talkers you have. You can find if you want to have the specific traffic with one member, you can just type the name of the member here, and you will have the information. And if you have more than one port, you can aggregate the ports also. Next steps for next year. Frank talked about the optical infrastructure renewal. Currently, we have passive muxes and 10 gig DWDM SFPs inserted directly on the routers. This is a very cost-effective solution with passive muxes. Today, a passive mux is very cheap. It's compared to optical active solutions. The price of the 10 gig interfaces DWDM are going down also. So with that, we can have a 400 gig solution with 40 channels mux. So this is was very good to start doing backbone with multiple 10 gig interfaces, but we see that it's difficult to maintain, and we spend a lot of time when we decide to deploy 100 gig additional 100 gig in, capacity. We need to do a 10 gig interface, to connect 10 gig interfaces, 10 gig cables, to check that light is good in all the ports. To validate, it's 10 times the work instead of compared to a 100 gig solution directly. So we spent some time doing this. There are some limitations, not on the current equipment, but in some limitations on the layer 3 equipment. Sometimes if you want to aggregate 40 10 gig interfaces, you can have some limitations. And if we want to monitor the optical layer, you have not a lot of information on the SFP plus transceivers. So we are checking today. We are in touch with some optical vendors to check the new technologies available today. And we will launch probably a tender end of this year or beginning of next year to have an optical solution with active muxes. Probably this solution will be deployed beginning of second semester of next year. We have the advantage of to have all the POPs with a distance of less than 30 kilometers, and with this we can have solutions avoiding amplification. So probably I cannot say today the solution we will deploy, but we are in touch with at least 5 optical vendors that can propose this kind of solutions. On the IP infrastructure side, today, as Frank said, we have a good solution for 100 gig interfaces, but today we have 4 100 gig customers connected. Before the end of the year, we will have about 10 for sure. Already with contracts already signed, so on deployment just. And probably we will have, I don't know, 10 additional 100 gig interfaces next year. So if we do nothing, we will continue purchasing line cards, the current Juniper line cards, and we observe that the market are going very fast on this side, and today we can have solutions that are very cheaper than the current solution we have, and we thought that it will take advantage if we migrate before the end of next year to a new solution instead of purchasing additional cards on the current chassis. So the objective is to deploy a new infrastructure during the summer. So for that we have to launch a tender beginning of next year. Now I will talk about one slide to a new service we will launch before the end of this year. It's a black holing based on RTBH-like solution. This solution is based on BGP black hole next stop. So you have an IP address dedicated for that, IPv4 and IPv6 of course. And you associate a MAC address to these IP addresses, and you block all, and you filter this MAC address on the edge, before on the edge. So doing that, you are able to filter a prefix if you decide to, if you want to avoid to receive traffic from to this designated to this prefix on the edge. You can use for that BGP communities if you are on the root, connected on the root server. If not, you have to write a route map or something like that to modify the next stop available for that. And we will have a machine responding to this MAC address. So if you request, if you do an RP request or a neighbor solicitation, we will reply to this. More visibility. I show that we are doing some efforts already, but we want to do extra efforts on that. And we are working to have a new portal on tools, new pages to show you a dashboard, to show you in one page all the useful information you need to know. Outages, the maintenance, the network availability, the SLA probe information, and also new members connected and last upgrades. So we are working on that. Some information are extracted from SLA probes, and other are calculated. Other are calculated not using the SLA probes. And this portal will be available before the end of next year. Automation. It's very important for us to have automated tools to gain time and minimize the time for connecting new members. So we are working on automate one part is already automated, but we want to go far and automate completely the process to connect a member. And we are also working on automated APIs for resellers and for marketplace vendors. We know that some resellers are already using some APIs for that, and we want to be compatible with that. So it's one of the research areas we want to progress next year. We are hiring also, so I'm finishing my presentation with that. So if you are interested in one of these works, sysadmin, network engineers, and also network technician, send me an email. And if you are not interested, but you know someone that will be interested, don't hesitate to share this information. Now, I will pass the floor to Arnaud. I present some visible information, but we are doing some work internally, and we are not communicating on that. And the General Assembly is the opportunity to say that we are doing a lot of interesting things internally. So Arnaud will present, will do an update of the root servers. This is visible, but also on logs, on accounting, oxidized for configuring the equipment, and also our proper ASN. So Arnaud, if you want to continue the presentation.